All these guys getting injured wearing Adidas? It's gotta be the shoes. What's up guys, this is Nightwing2303 from kicksoncourt.com. Today we're going over performance topic number 4. I know it's been a while, but these things take me quite a bit of time to pull everything out, get my thoughts together, and then record, edit, and then I don't feel like putting all the shoes away, and so it's just a lot of time. But this is basically about the shoes, not just the brand in general that you see here. However, this is the brand that is being discussed and all that kind of stuff most often. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So we're just going to jump right into it. A lot of players are getting injured, and some of them just happen to be wearing Adidas. Those are probably the ones with the most severe injuries, most notably the one that just happened on Easter Sunday with Mr. Ware. Now this kid suffered the worst injury I think I've ever witnessed, period, and it was on TV live as it was happening. Like, that was literally insane, like what had happened. And a lot of people, again, they're like, yo, he's wearing Derrick Rose's shoes, the shoes are cursed, it's gotta be the shoes, it's gotta be Adidas, it's gotta be this. And I mean, honestly, like, what happened to him was literally like a freak thing. Like, that usually doesn't happen. And on top of that, there are reasons for something like that to even happen in the first place, and it happens to not have anything associated with sneakers whatsoever. So the only thing that you guys got to know is that certain injuries that are attributed to sneakers are usually from the ankle down, not from the ankle up. So not with basketball, at least. So, you know, I know that skiing and things like that, you'll get leg and knee injuries, but that's when your leg is literally attached to a boot, and that boot is attached to a board or to a long stick, which is the ski. But that's one of the few sports where you'll actually get shoe or footwear related injuries, like on the upper body area of the leg. So, basketball, though, it's usually not the case, and pretty much 99% of the time it's literally not the case whatsoever. We'll start off with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is probably the most common one that we talk about, and everybody says that his ACL had basically busted loose because of the shoe. The ACL and the shoe itself have nothing to do with one another. They're two totally separate things, and that's pretty much that. Like, it's common sense, it's actual fact, it's not like assumption or anything like that. This here had nothing to do with his ACL tear. The only thing that had to do with his tear in general was the fact that he made a move so hard and so quick, and he basically tweaked his knee in the perfect spot to basically warrant the ACL to tear like that. The thing that you got to keep in mind with a lot of these guys is that these guys are massive people. They are really big guys. They're usually above average in height. We're talking about, like, they have an ACL that's about a few inches big. Like, that's it. Like, we're talking about this tiny little thing inside of your knee, and you're putting so much force, pressure, and torque, plus all that speed on there. You're kicking off and things like that. Basically what he had done is he went to go push off in a different direction, and his knee just buckled. It's gonna happen eventually. Like, with somebody that quick and that strong, like, your ACL can only handle so much. So does it have anything to do with his shoes? Not at all. I don't know how to say his name correctly, but I'm pretty sure it's Iman Shumpert. But he had the same exact issue. He, I think, tore his ACL, and he was wearing this shoe right here. And again, it has nothing to do with the shoes. I mean, you do a move so weird, you know, like, it's got to be the... You know how they say you are in the wrong place at the wrong time? Well, for an injury like that to occur, you have to be in the right position, at the right speed, at the right time for that to even go down. So, like, it was just perfect conditions for that, you know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of what happens. Like I was saying, you put that much force and torque on something in an unnatural motion, it's bound to happen eventually. As I said earlier, there are certain injuries that are attributed to sneakers. Usually they're from the ankle down. Now, when we're talking about a foot injury, back in the day, 1985 I believe, Jordan broke his foot. Was that because of the shoe itself? Most likely. back then they were wearing these things, and as we all know, there's no forefoot cushion in this. This is literally a solid rubber cup sole. This is a midsole attached to an outsole, and then the thing is flexible. You have maybe, I don't even know how much room. Let's see. You have maybe 1/4 of an inch, if that, between your foot and the floor when you're wearing something like this. That is not enough cushion to withstand certain pressure points. So when you're somewhere along the lines of a Jordan type athlete, you're about 6'6". At that time he was not his usual 214, 216. He was a little bit under that, but still you're talking about almost 200 pounds on tiny little bones, and you're landing basically barefoot because this has got no protection whatsoever, and you're landing from a dunk or a jump or whatever it is. You know, it's bound to happen. Like, it is bound to happen. You are beating that thing to death, and eventually it will break. So with something like this, yes, the shoe would probably the cause, or at least helped, you know, promote that break in general. But anything from the ankle up is pretty much not happening. Now, the funny thing is that when certain athletes that are wearing certain brands go down, you don't ever hear anybody talking any trash whatsoever. So, Kobe Bryant recently rolled his ankle. He was wearing this shoe, not this particular shoe here, but he was wearing the Kobe 8. And the reason, we all saw it, it was on TV, the reason why he rolled his ankle is because someone put their foot underneath him and he landed on their foot. When you land on someone or something awkwardly, you're going to come off awkwardly, and most likely you're going to land like this. Your ankle is then tweaked. It looks just like that. And you're putting all that pressure on a tiny little area, you're going to tear some ligaments. So even if it's not a full tear, it's going to be a partial or at least a sprain, and that's pretty much what happens. Is that because of the shoe? Not at all. A lot of people consider low tops to be something where you can roll your ankle easier. There's no ankle protection or support or whatever, which is something that literally doesn't exist. And that is not the case whatsoever. Your ankle has ligaments in there. There's tendons and ligaments, and then along with your ACL, those are literally your ankle's natural support. If those items are weak, then your ankles are weak, and you're most likely going to be more prone to ankle injuries. Does that have anything to do with the height or the cut or the brand of the shoe? Absolutely not. So basically, it just happens to be pure coincidence that a lot of these guys are wearing Adidas models while they are getting certain injuries. But again, these injuries can happen to anybody at any time. The one that happened to Kevin Ware was just literally a freak accident. Most likely what the case was there, actually there could be a couple different factors. First thing is that his calcium levels could have been low. If he wasn't taking enough calcium, his bones would be weak and things like that. However, I don't think that was the case. Usually players like him have nutritionists, and they help them with diets and being healthy and things like that, just like they have trainers for weightlifting and strengths and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think that that was the case with this particular issue. Second thing is that usually they just land awkwardly and a break could happen. It's very rare, but as we all saw, it's definitely possible. I've watched the video over and over and over and over again, and I don't find that he landed any more awkwardly than any of us would have ever done. That is a jump and a land that we probably do on a daily basis. We probably do those types of things when we're just outside messing around and all that stuff, especially like younger people. They're, you know, skipping around and all that stuff. I don't know what they're doing, skateboarding, anything like that. Like, that kind of break doesn't just happen from a jump. There has to be a different kind of factor involved. Shin splints could have been a cause for that as well. Shin splints are basically when the muscles start to detach from your shins, your tibia, and it's excruciating pain. I deal with it all the time. Sometimes it's better than others, and there are specific causes for shin splints. The first cause could be cushion. You know, cushion, if you have a lack of cushion or worn out cushion, you're not basically cushioning that break between your foot and the floor, much like I was explaining with the Air Jordan 1. Just that much kind of pounding, beat down, and pressure on a specific area consistently over time will eventually cause a break or some sort of damage, what most would call wear and tear. Now, with something like an Adidas product, they actually use a really good foam in there so that absorbs and disperses that impact when comparing it to a targeted cushion system. So I don't believe that the cushion was actually a factor in this particular injury. Second thing with shin splints is that it could be caused by flexibility or lack thereof. Now we're talking about the Adidas Rose 3.5. This is not the 3.5, this is a 3.0. However, the shoe is exactly built the same. It's got the same sprint frame midsole and outsole. The only thing different is the design along the upper. This shoe is plenty flexible. No flex issues whatsoever. So I do not think that that was an issue for this guy's problem as well. Now the last thing with shin splints is the most common thing, and this is the reason why I have it. It's because of overuse of that area. You are just playing too hard, too long, and your shins basically are getting worn down and it starts to hurt. When you start to feel that pain, that's when you know that you're supposed to lay off a little bit and relax, let everything recuperate. Now, for example, back in the day when I first started doing videos, I was testing the, the Kobe 5, and basically I used my legs up to a point to where I fractured my tibia. It was a hairline fracture. They were very small. There was a couple of them, and they were right above my ankle. So if the shoe's on me, my ankle's right about here, and the cracks were right about here. So just a couple of inches above my ankle. Now, that wasn't the shoe's fault. I was wearing the Kobe's, great cushion, all that stuff. It was because I was playing like crazy. I was playing like, man, I don't even know how many days, but it was insane. And I was just doing a lot of stuff at once, and my legs basically couldn't take it anymore. And it was really, really painful. Now, what ends up happening is you'll see me do a bunch of reviews, performance review, performance review, performance review, performance review, and then all of a sudden I don't do one for a little while. The reason why I don't do one for a little while is because I just kicked the crap out of myself for however many weeks that was, and now I'm recuperating, I'm resting. Otherwise, I might have a very severe injury, and when I did end up with the hairline fractures, I ended up being out for about 6 months, and I can't have that. I don't like sitting around like that, and I don't like being injured. I don't like being told I cannot play basketball. So basically what I do is I'll be on for as long as I can feel everything okay, and then as soon as I start to feel some pain, I lay off for a week or two, and then I go back at it. Now with this kid, he possibly could have had some shin splint issues and possibly had a hairline fracture without telling anybody. If you guys have seen the images, I know that they're really graphic and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people hated on me for even showing it on Instagram. However, it's real life. You know, get used to it. Like, that kind of stuff happens. If you want to be a pussy about it, then go for it. But don't hate on me because you're a pussy. So, but basically, that guy's bone split clean and went directly through his leg. Again, it was awful. I've never seen anything like that before, ever in my life. I feel really, really bad for the kid. I've heard that his surgery went really well, and that he's going to make a full recovery and come back to playing basketball, which is great news. But that does not, distract the fact that that was just a crazy, awful injury. Now, his clean break was so clean, it was like straight. It looked like a saw went right through his leg. Because that was so clean, I'm assuming that he had some sort of cracks within his leg that he maybe wasn't telling anybody. The reason why he might not have told anybody is because they were going through March Madness. There's Sweet 16, it's really important. That is basically what you play for all year round, and you can't miss that. Like, I understand that. Like, the competitiveness, sometimes it comes back to bite you in the ass. And unfortunately, that's what I think happened. I don't know for a fact. However, that's what I assume, just based off of my own personal experience with injuries. So overall, with all of those things considered, no, it was not the shoes that had anything to do with this kid's injury. It was just a freak thing. He possibly had a previous injury that he might not have reported and just played through the pain, and obviously you see what could end up happening. Alright guys, so that pretty much takes care of it. Is it the shoes? Hell no, it's not. Just like a shoe won't make you play any better or any worse, a shoe's not going to cause you an injury above the leg, or above the ankle I should say. It's definitely not going to cause you any sort of ACL or break or anything like that some of these guys have been going through. There has been players wearing multiple different brands getting the same exact injuries. However, the only one that people seem to be focusing on is Adidas. Why is that? I don't know. People are just dumb. Like, that's the only thing that I can come up with, is just people are stupid. So, but yeah, and some people just like to cause trouble, and that's fine. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as it being the actual shoes, no, it's not. That could have happened to anybody. ACL injuries happen all the time. They happen in all the sports: soccer, football. Not really baseball, but you know, some of them might have an issue here or there. But yeah, you know, any real aggressive, fast-playing sport can be susceptible to this type of injury, and as you can see, it happens quite often, especially to NBA players. These guys are going through hell on a daily basis, being trained, played in games, back-to-back games. There's practices and all of this kind of stuff. So these guys are playing a lot more than what you actually see. You only see the game on TV as it's happening, but you're not seeing all the work that they're putting in off camera. So that pretty much sums it all up. I know this might have been a longer video. I apologize. However, it's something that I personally 100% disagree with. It's not the shoes. And I think the people that are saying that just need to get slapped upside the head. That's basically how I feel about it. I just think it's that stupid. So, thank you guys again. Make sure to stay tuned to my site, kicksoncourt.com, for all your performance needs. And until next time, guys, have a good one.